What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chicken Bone Alley. Actually, episode 199. I was just paying attention. About to hit that 200 mark. What's up, guys? I'm David.
I'm Terry.
There's Terry, the smoothest voice in motorsports.
That's what they tell me, at least.
I'm going to come up with
cool
your own.
See.
You need your own intro music.
Yeah. I think, I don't even know what it would be. I hear that they could technically call me the baddest man in motorsports. Steve tell you that story on Saturday.
I was going to say, I heard you got in trouble.
I didn't get in trouble this time. Somebody else did.
Oh, somebody else did?
Yeah, I just so happened to, be on the recipient end of doing something else.
Uh-oh. I'll have to catch that story.
Yeah, it's not I ain't sure it's appropriate per se for this show, but it sounded good.
Nice. I do have to ask something real quick.
That's scary.
Well, and I'm hoping that's not pertaining to what what you're talking about. Actually,
Yeah.
There was talk. We talked about it a little bit on the show last week. There was a little scuffle in the tower last week.
Yeah, it pertained to it a little bit.
Oh, well, I ain't trying to get in all that, but I heard scuffle in the VIP section over there.
Yeah, it's a little there, and fan got a little out of control, and much to what happened yesterday with Stenhouse and Kyle Busch is sometimes you just need a good old fashioned ass whooping, and he come in there and put his hands on somebody, and I didn't take too kindly to it. And short track racers, short track announcers. I mean, I did 7.5 years in the Army, and
nice.
I turn around and this thumb right here put a man to sleep. So I'm with it.
Whatever it takes.
You don't show your tail and get away with whatever, but it just ain't gonna put up with that. It's the same deal yesterday. Like everybody's all, we need to suspend Stenhouse, so we need to suspend the crew members. Why? Kyle Busch wrecked him. Now what Kyle Busch should have done is not get punched in the face.
Yes. You don't walk up to a man that has sat there for 200 laps at the back of a trailer and expect just for nothing to happen there. Yeah.
And then the craziest part about it is for some reason is they couldn't figure out why in the world he was mad. What do you mean, why was he mad? I'd be mad too. Like, this man came up and for some reason thought that, if you get stuck at Wilkesboro, you're stuck at Wilkesboro.
That's
like
right.
I was there last year with the Carolina Great Modifieds. If you're in the infield at North Wilkesboro, you've got a long time to stew. And they stewed for 200 laps. He stewed for a long enough time that when Stenhouse saw Kyle Busch, you're catching the right. I hate to tell you.
I just like what Junior said yesterday. He just put on Twitter or X, whatever we want to call it. He thinks we just need to concrete up all the tunnels now and make all the drivers just sit there.
That's it. Every time. But just don't let nobody and their mother leave that racetrack, because even Stenhouse's dad took a right hook. That's NASCAR. That's NASCAR. That's what separates NASCAR from F1 and
exactly
whatever. That should be
What's bad, and I hate it. What's bad, though, is Rick Stenhouse Sr. will probably get some sort of fine or something out of it, or get his hard card removed for a couple weeks or something. And I'm like, why? Whatever, but there's no purpose in that. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but
not a purpose on the planet that Stenhouse's dad gets something. I mean, at the end of the day, you come down to any local short track, and Wilkesboro should be treated the same.
Yep.
Like, there should be a separate section for NASCAR that says, okay, when you get to a short track, we're going to treat it like a short track Saturday night.
Well, nobody's hard card gets.
Yeah, nobody. Well, yeah, there's that. But there is no hard card pulling if you get your tail whipped at Dillon or Lawrence or Hickory. Like, you just get your tail whipped, you go about your day. I mean, that's just how it is.
I don't know. There has been a man tased at Dillon before, so.
Well, that's a different story. That is Dillon Motor Speedway for you.
Oh, that's great. Good stuff. Cool, man.
We got a lot of stories we can tell people getting their tails whipped or tased or handcuffed or suplexed in some sense at racetracks. Yeah, there's suplexes involved at your local short track.
There's all kind of stuff involved at your local short tracks.
That's why you need to go every single time. Like, you should be at the track. Like, you should come to your local short track. Yes. That should be your go-to spot.
And you need to be in the stands, not just watching it on TV. I mean, I understand.
Or in the VIP suite at Florence.
That's exactly where you need to be, really. But you need to be, watching in person, because sometimes TV doesn't catch all the good stuff. I will say, and I know this, and I know you know this, there was some good stuff that happened at Florence Motor Speedway this last time that, unfortunately, TV couldn't catch. But I was down in the pits in the middle of it, and I just needed a microphone down there. That's all I needed.
Well, I mean, you're a host of a podcast. I mean, you should have had your podcast and equipment on standby. I mean, I'm sure we missed something between Matt Cox's team and, the AK Performance guys and the 16 of Casey Kelly. I'm sure at some point we missed that. I'm almost positive that we missed.
Well, I can tell you one thing that happened.
Something.
I can tell you one thing that happened. I was standing there, saw it.
Oh boy,
it was great. And as much as Casey apologized, and everything, and rightfully so. Whatever. I mean, whoever did whatever, whatever. I'm not even going there. Matt Cox gave him a good finger pointing when he come by, and a good right boot right in the door. And I mean,
I don't know if I'm allowed to rehash that one. I hope they're watching. There's a lot of mixed reactions.
Did
the 16 turn the 51? Did the 51 turn himself?
Yeah, bunch of mixed reactions, but I will say this out of both sides, and because I'm friends with both sides, I was down there in the pits, and I didn't know where to go really. Matt, I talked to him last Monday, invited him to come on the show, to kind of give his perspective, because everybody else kind of got to talk a little bit about it. And he said, "I'm over it." He says, over with. I'm moving on. Yeah. No big deal. Is what it is.
He's got a car. He'll be back out there Saturday at 7 to drop the green flag. I mean, in my opinion, and this is my opinion from the broadcast standpoint, granted, we watched a ton of replays on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think once a couple of the drivers step back, and the heat of the moment's fine, but y'all didn't have this 15 years ago or 10 years ago where there is a replay. There is a camera on that situation when it occurs. From my standpoint, and I'm not going to speak for Skyler, our initial reaction is the 16 turned to 51, right? Initial reaction, you heard it live, and what we thought, and we said, oh, he turned him, right? We thought that initially, but once we watched the replay and once we looked over, it's just a racing deal.
It was.
The 51 crowded the 16. The 51 tried to turn into the corner, might have turned a little too soon. Did the 16 stay straight? We don't know. It was just a racing deal. I'm not going to say, oh, Casey Kelly in the 16 turned the 51 of Matt Cox. Not at all going to say it. Not also going to say the 51 came across the nose. But what I am going to say is thank goodness for the safety in our sport.
Yes.
Because that was wild. And when the guest we're about to have here soon, Donovan Strauss, comes on, watching his in-car of what happened and where that tire landed, and all you see is that, and you see the tire go through the windshield, that's when you start to go, okay, this isn't a game anymore. Like, it's all fun and dandy when you're watching the wreck happen, but that's not funny. Like, you could point fingers all day, you could do whatever, but we could have killed somebody. Like that's still the end of the day. Somebody could have died in that situation. Luckily, he's still here, and we get a chance to talk to him, and it's awesome because he's one of the best damn drivers on the racetrack.
That's right. And there he is, Mr. Donovan Strauss. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Oh, we're lovely.
Well, we're good now that you're here. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Where are you at? Your living room?
I am downstairs. This is basically my living room. Yeah.
It's the hangout center down there.
Yeah.
I need one of them.
I do too.
I can live with you.
Yeah. You can come over every time.
What's up, man? What's going on with you on a Monday afternoon?
I'm just preparing for our NASCAR stuff tomorrow. That's usually what I do every Monday. So I got that going on, and then was at the shop today working on the car. So, normal day in my life.
All right, for a very low skill iRacer like myself. What goes into? I hear you say you're preparing for your NASCAR stuff. What goes into preparing for it? I mean, I get on there and practice myself a little bit every once in a while, but I know y'all are. I'm down here, y'all are up here, and there's a lot more preparation. So what goes into preparing for it?
Yeah, you have to do a lot of race runs, hundreds and hundreds of laps into this stuff to be competitive and try and win every single week. And usually we do at least 20, 30 lap runs every time we try a change on the car. And that's how you know if it's better, if it's worse. And then tonight, we usually do a big group like mock race just to see how it's basically a preview of how we think tomorrow will go. So that's our routine, and it's a lot of hours, a lot of time, and a lot of dedication. A lot of people don't have it. So, but I've been doing it now for 3-4 years, and it's kind of just part of what I do.
Yeah, and you talk about the NASCAR stuff. I, had the opportunity to make a bet that you were going to win a race, and you did. Thought it was super cool that you were there getting a win in the NASCAR stuff. But you got North Force partner with the EPI now. That's a huge deal that goes along with it. You represent Martin PC as well. That was a big sponsor that was tied to EPI for a while, then moved over to Conti. How does that work of bringing a sim racing sponsor into the real world racing side of things? And how does that help you develop when it comes to the Coca-Cola iRacing series?
Yeah, I reached out to Brian around February, or it was around January, actually. I reached out to him. And I just wanted to, start something with him and try and put something together. And he was all for it. And it's just kind of taken off since then. And we have this really good relationship, and we usually talk on the phone for at least 45 minutes once a week. So it's been really good, and he's helped me a lot. And we have a lot of cool things that we're working on that I think will really benefit the community of sim racing as well. So it's really huge to have somebody like that in my circle, and Brian's a good dude, and I have nothing but good things to say about him and everything he's done for me.
Good deal, man. Good deal. So I guess you probably, as the rest of us, just found it fun. But tell us a little bit how you got into to the iRacing and the sim racing and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it was back in 2019. I was around, I think I was 14, about to be 15. And I obviously I couldn't real race because just didn't have the funding to do it. And I wasn't in the right place to do it because I was in Florida. So I bought this little, it was like a $400 computer. And at the time, still at this time, you need at least like $1,000 computer for it to even function. So I had that, and I had a little desk, and then I had just a basic steering wheel and pedals under the desk, and it was in my dining room. I wasn't allowed to have it in my room because my mom thought I would never come out of my room. So in the dining room, so I was on there, and I was on all the time, and I just got hooked. And because I've never been on a simulator like that, before that I was playing Xbox, like NASCAR games and stuff like that. So that's when I got to iRacing, I was like, whoa, this is like a whole other level. And I raced a lot that year. I think I raced over 1,300 times in the span of 2018. So, and then I got pretty good at it towards the end of the year, and I made a run for pro in 2020, and I made it to the Winter Series, which is now called the Contender Series, which is in the Xfinity cars. It's the series after the trucks to get to the World Championship in the Cup cars, but I didn't make it past that. So when you don't make it past that, you got to restart the whole process, start in the trucks again. So I did that again in 2021 with Elliott Sadler. I was on his esports team, and I made it that year. So my first year was 2022 in the Coke Series in the World Championship, and now I'm on year 3. So it's kind of my journey. I love the sim has done some great things for me. It's given me a name, not only on the sim side of things, but in the real world. And it's kind of separated me, I feel like, from other people. And it's given me a story and a platform. So I'm thankful for iRacing and everything they've done for me.
I'm normally not a statistician. Like that's not my style. Like nobody hears me on a broadcast start throwing out stats. But I will say I was very impressed when I looked up your stats on iRace, and it'll lead me into my question of, your story in the real world racing. But this man has 2,395 starts on the iRacing simulator, by the way. And I have these screenshotted because I thought it was funny. 456 wins. He has almost more wins than I do starts. His average start is 8th, and his average finish is 8th, with 24,663 laps led. This man has led more laps than I've run. You've ran over 130 laps on the sim, and you quite literally have one of the best finishes of your incident per points at almost 2,500 starts at 3.9. So that's pretty good. And a win percentage of 19%. That's a little crazy to think that most people don't have that start in that side, and you race all the cars, right? But your story from sim to real world is a bit different than everybody else's sim to reality, because you started, I believe, legend cars first. So you jumped it. No, not legend cars. You went. It was.
I was in Bandoleros.
You ran bandos, right?
Yeah.
So when you started the sim, you had already had what experience on the real world track before you moved up?
I had none. I was on the sim for a year before I even got in a real car. I didn't get in a real car until the end of 2019.
Wow.
And I was on the sim in the spring of 2019. So it was a good little bit.
So that's crazy, because I didn't even know that one. I thought you went straight to Legends because they ran the feature of the Legends series. I didn't know you even ran bandos.
Yep. I ran that in COVID year, and I almost won the national championship my first year. I was second. So, and then I made the jump to legend cars in 2021.
What was the transition like? So yeah, way to feel old now. But so your racing career, it's just you, your mom, and your sister, right? That's all you have. If the car tears up, it's just you two.
Yeah, it's just me and my mom for the most part, and then everybody else that helps out and helps in once in a while, or whatever. But yeah, it's just really us two, and that's our operation. That's how we've always operated. And I'd like to say, like, maybe I wish it was otherwise, but right now it's not, and but that kind of separates me. So I'm grateful for it being like that and ended up like that, because I just think that's how it's meant to be at this point. So, but it's been a lot better this year. I've had a lot of our partners help out a little bit, and want to build relationships and want to be a part of this journey, and that I'm thankful for. But for the most part, up until this year specifically, it was just me and my mom.
Cool, man. Cool. And Terry, there in 2021 is when he started making me look bad out on the racetrack. I mean, he's
talented. I said it in driver intros, and I truly meant this. If you don't know his name, like from a race car driver standpoint, you need to learn it. And a lot of people didn't know, no disrespect, Donovan, but a lot of people don't know the sim world, and a lot of people don't know the crossover between whatever. I mean, we've saw Blake McCandless drove a late model one race, Michael Conti test drove one, but and then Vicente Salas, who got a win at Hickory, that was a huge deal. And that move with him is a lot of people didn't know Vicente, and then here he comes, he wins the race at Hickory, and everybody's like, oh, this guy's good. Donovan, to me, is probably one of the most talented guys I've seen jump from one to the next. And the fact that he was you're able to jump in and just instantly start running top 5 and start contending for wins. I mean, we're 6 races in or 5 races into the season, and you've been there knocking on the door for the wins. I'm just curious to you, and as a fan, as the announcer, as whatever, what do you feel is going to help you get your name out there more and be able to separate you even further than the competition, to put more eyes on you and maybe more sponsorship out there?
I feel like I just got to keep being myself. I feel like I have a lot of personality to show as well to a lot of the fans and everybody that's watching. And I feel like I have a lot to offer to people, I feel like. And, I'm just going to continue to just be myself and work hard and fight for these wins. And people are going to notice the hard work, because we've only been 6 races in and we're contending for wins. That doesn't just happen. So, and I'm putting in a lot of work, a lot more work than I ever have to do this and want to win at this level and compete. And, I'm just going to have to keep doing what I'm doing and keep up the grind. That's all it is. You just got to keep it up. And one day the right person will see that and the opportunity will come.
For sure, man. What I have a question about is, man, you talked about right there, starting and working hard, and I understand a pile of work goes into race cars, trust me. But what do you think it is yourself that puts you from a driver to a good driver? And this isn't in just real life stuff, even in the esports stuff, even in the sim. What takes you from, being the average guy to being that elite guy?
Just a lot of laps. That's what helped me on the sim a lot. I had a lot of laps and I figured something. I just adapted, and I feel like I've always been good at adapting. And same way in the legend car, late model, the sim, I feel like I've always just been good at adapting. And maybe it takes a race or two, maybe it takes longer than that, but I've just continued to always say that if you can log these laps down and put in the effort and continue to work, especially like I said on the sim as well, like you can get better. And I just feel like I've always had this passion, this drive. To a lot of people, they don't have this passion, they don't have this drive to want to be better. And I've seen it firsthand, and I'm not trying to say that nobody does. A lot of people do, but I continue to have this drive and this passion to want to be better no matter what. Even if I'm winning, I want to be better. I want to always try and improve. And it's just this hunger and this fire I have in me. And I feel like it's never going to go away, because I'm not going to stop until, I'm where I want to be and I'm where I need to be.
What was the biggest learning curve? Because you got the Winter National Championship for the Legend cars down in Florida, and then all of a sudden you go into the AK Performance role where you're starting to drive in the late model series. What was your biggest hurdle from going from the Legend, which you both know very well, to a bigger car in the late model, and what would you do different if you had to do it over again to go from there? Would you do more practice? Would you do just something different to go before you jumped in the late model?
I would say one thing I would do different while I was in the legend car world and I was racing, and I would probably put in a lot more effort to helping off the track. That's something I've been trying to be big on this year, is just everything off the track matters as much as it does on the track. So that's something I've tried to really adapt this year, and I would go back and change that. if I could. That's something I would do different. But like I said, I don't have the opportunities that a lot of these other people have. Like I said, like everybody knows in the racing world, it takes a lot of funding. It takes the right people to get where you need to be. But I don't have those opportunities, so I have to make the most of the cards I have. So, it's not always going to be like that. I know one day that the opportunity will come. But for now, I'm just trying to hustle on and off the track and continue to be better.
Does that change how you sell yourself to sponsorship? Like, do you have to approach it differently when you're going up to a sponsor to say, hey, this is what I got, this is what I can give you, and what can I do for you, and what can you do for me?
Sort of. I feel like like I said, I know I have a lot. I feel like I can offer, and I feel like my presence off the track is really good, and I've always strived and felt really confident about my presence off the track. So, like I said, that's just important as it is on the track. So, I feel like that's definitely something you have to factor in. But for sure, it's definitely hard, pursuing like opportunities like that because a lot of people they don't even know what the racing scene is. So it's hard to really describe to them how much work goes in and what you need to do to be able to do it. But I'm still pursuing opportunities every single day.
Well, just for you, so you race in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is the official fan refresher of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, right?
That is true.
Terry's over here getting Coke points already.
I got you, man. I'm here for y'all.
Terry, they need you on the broadcast. That's what they need.
I'm retired. I am retired. I will. I have stepped away. I don't know, David. Maybe full-time podcasting. Maybe.
Hey, come on. I told you all you gotta do is say I'm on today. That's all you gotta say.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Donovan. Is opportunities for announcers are not very plentiful, and you have to earn them. So getting the opportunity to do whatever, and sometimes it's best and not taking a shot at iRacing. I love iRacing, iRacing.com, /numbers and 40% off, all that. Like, I still have all the plugs. I still got them. They're in my head. I've memorized them. But sometimes it's best to focus on the real world side of things. And if I was still doing iRacing, I probably wouldn't be at Florence every 2 weeks and being able to watch you develop and grow, and watching Casey and Cody whip on people's butts, or watching Matt Cox come out here after a kid and do great things. Like, there's so much talent in the short track community that it's, if you miss a week or if you don't do it often, like, you kind of get too into the sim world, but you for some reason are able to compartmentalize it and kick butt on Tuesdays and then go race well on Saturdays. So I don't know how to do it.
He definitely can. But one thing that you just said that I wanted to throw out there, Donovan, you came along now in late model stocks at a time that it's kind of thriving right now, and it's huge. And I want to commend you on that first of all, because you've jumped in there and been able to run up front and really compete with those guys that are, have been there for a long time. But in saying that, do you feel like, when you come over to Florence, that's it's kind of a proving ground over there?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Florence, and that's why I've ran all of my races there. I have a lot of respect for the racetrack, Steve Zacharias, everyone that plays part in running the racetrack. And I felt like we've had really good shows this year, minus the race last weekend. It was definitely a mess, but there's a lot of great racers there. The Kelly boys are obviously really, really good, and I've learned a lot from them. And Matt Cox is really good, and got a lot of good guys there. So I feel like if you can learn a lot of things there and fully adapt and win there, you can do it about anywhere. So, I take a lot of pride in Florence and the good drivers there. So it's been good so far to compete for wins.
Good, man.
Well, so you're taking the weekend off. What commitment do you have in Charlotte?
So I got to be there for Williams, and I got to do a couple of NASCAR stuff Friday and Saturday. So I've already committed to that, and I've been committed to that. So plus, it's probably a good weekend off for all of us to regroup. And after last weekend's crash, I mean, the car is still got a lot of work to do on it. So.
It didn't look like it was just going to get magically fixed overnight. Like that thing had a tarp over it. I don't know if people knew this or not, but I walked down there with Jonathan Cadell, and I was talking to your mom. And I swear, like when you ever meet your mom, like as somebody that's a fan of yours, you swear up and down you'd never hear a foul word come out of that woman's mouth. But she turned around, and I've never seen anybody turn that red and say anything that loudly that was just, she was pissed. And I was like, all right, Miss Strauss, good on you. Like, that's passionate mom. And she was not happy. And it tickled me. And I was like, okay, I know who not to make mad now here at Florence. So if I think something bad about you, I know I'm going to get my butt whipped.
Yeah, I mean, we're both equally as passionate. So, that's for sure.
Well, and she's passionate. Like, your sister is also a butt kicking machine.
Yeah.
In this, David, you must not follow the socials here. She's deadlifting the weight of grown ass men, and she's throwing them. Like, we need her at security at Florence.
So you're gonna have her up in the tower. I mean,
probably need them.
The Strauss family definitely has its characteristics to them. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, talking about last week, as you were saying, with all the calamity that went on there, just kind of give us your version of. We've seen your in-car camera from it, but give us your version. It was very wild, very wild. Give us your version of what kind of transpired there on the backstretch at Florence Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I was third on the restart, and I knew if I could get ahead of Cody. Cody was on my outside out of turn 2. If I could get ahead of him, I could fight for the win. And I felt like I put myself in the best position possible. And I was basically clear of him, but he was hanging like barely at my right rear. So I was out of 2, and I still knew I had a car right to my outside. And then I didn't even see Cox get turned. Like I saw the 16 in front of me. I saw Casey in front of me, and then next thing I know, I see a pile of smoke, and I have half a second, and then there's a car on my windshield. Like, you couldn't even see him crashing, which was it was brutal to even, like, you didn't even have a chance. And I felt like, you go back and look at it, I hit Casey, and it made him dodge the other 51. Like, if I don't hit Casey, he's probably getting the one that's getting killed in that, or we might have 2 killed cars. So it's I felt like at least I saved one of our cars, because I felt like his was going to get murdered too. But it was just racing deal. Honestly, I felt like going for the win. At first, I felt like the 51 came down and was trying to throw a block going into 3, but I just feel like it's just going for the win and hard racing. And Casey was trying to use up all the track, and Cox was probably just hanging right there. And it's just a product of going for the win with 3 laps to go, and we haven't done that all year. Everybody, like, our races have gone green to checkered.
Yeah.
So, to throw us in a race like that, we were all probably just like, this is a mess, and it just continued to be a mess. But I didn't think that was going to happen in front of me, to be honest. I thought it was going to happen behind me, if anything. So just nowhere to go, and sucks we have a killed AK Performance car, but we've been hard at work, and I was there today. So just one day at a time, and we'll get it back together, and we'll be back for Florence race on June 8th, I think it is. So
nice.
Good plug. I like this guy. He's plugging it out there. That's good.
I think that's our one, so we'll be there.
Well, not to get into all the details, obviously, but how bad was the car?
It was a front clip and left front suspension. So it got clipped, unfortunately. But yeah, it could have been worse. It could have been worse for sure. I thought it was going to be a rear too, maybe, but it was only front.
I thought center section was gone. Seriously, when it come down, I thought probably a rail had caught the front of the cage and pushed the cage down, but fortunately it didn't. That's great.
That's what it was terrifying. And it is there's tough things to talk about in racing. And I said this right when you was coming on, we can say it was this person's fault, person's fault, or whoever. But at the end of the day, what we really should be saying as a collective group is, wow, like, yes, this is still a dangerous sport. People can still get hurt, but look at the safety that we've done. I mean, in the same night as you guys, Matt Cox is up and over on top of you. Landon Huffman's entire body went away. Like, Pinchuk's whole body's gone. Yeah. And it was a very wild night, but what was the worst part about it was, from a racetrack perspective, Steve says in the drivers' meeting, all right, guys, you drivers have been asking for it. You guys want a lap 40 caution if we go green. 40 laps, want it. And then, coming to 39, authentic caution comes out. And everybody still got mad at the tower and was cussing Steve and them out, going, you caused this. You told us we'd have a lap 40 caution. And it's like, no. The 23 wrecked the 3. So they didn't throw it. Y'all threw it. It was y'all. But what going forward, I don't want to ask this to be rude, but everybody knows it's kind of a pay to play. Late model trucks, whatever. Like, you guys have to fund it.
Yep.
Is that harder when things get tore up? Who has to sign that check at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's crazy hard. I probably would be trying to gamble and run the race this Saturday if it wasn't a torn up car. I'd probably try and race Saturday, even if I had those commitments. But it definitely makes it a lot harder when you don't have someone fully funding your operation. And but that's also what makes me work harder and be there at the shop and be there to try and help out, because I know that makes an impact on people and that presence makes an impact. So it's hard, and like I said, we're gonna have to fund it, which is just it. It's part of it. It's part of it. But
so you and your mom have to fund that out of pocket at y'all.
Correct. As of now, correct. Unless one of our partners helps us fund it, but for now, that's what the deal is. Still working on trying to figure that part out. I haven't really gotten to it yet, but like I said, right now we're still trying to get the car back together and have it ready to go for the next 4-inch race. But yeah, it's hard when you wreck cars and it's out of your control, especially if it was I told my mom this. I was like, I'd rather this almost be my fault, because I can look back at something and be like, what could I have done better here? But you're just in the wrong place, wrong time. There's nothing you can do there. That's what sucks.
Nah, but something you just said, man, it makes me actually respect you more, because being a young guy now in the sport, you don't see a lot of them in the shop. You don't see a lot of them turning wrenches on cars. You don't see them, being there to help. So it's awesome. It sucks that you got to, but it's awesome that you're there, because I still think, even with NASCAR, the way it is nowadays, and drivers don't really do a whole lot, but I still think knowing what's going on with your car and with a hands-on approach has got to help anybody. Because now, you're over there looking at shocks and springs and, everything else, and track bars and sway bars and everything else. And all right, if we do change this part, this is what it does to the car. So I think that's got to help. So, I mean, that I promise you, man, that adds a level of respect from a lot of people to know that you are over there turning wrenches on it too.
Yeah, I have, like I said, that's something I've really been big on this year, and I'm learning every single day on the aspect of these cars. I felt like I had the legend cars down really well with what I knew this would do this and this would do that, but this is a whole other world. There's so much more to it. So, like I said, every day is a learning process, but I'm going to continue to put in the effort, continue to put in the work because,
Awesome.
like I said, if we have a wrecked car, if we win a race, I'm still going to put in the same amount of effort, and that's something I've always stood by. So, it's simple as that, in my opinion.
Good deal, man. Well, Donovan,
I want to see if I still got this because I know I retired from the sim, but I think I still got a good promo in me somewhere. Donovan, what do you think? Should I send you out and where to watch the guy?
Yeah.
Well, you can watch Donovan Strauss tomorrow night for the Coca-Cola 160. It's race coverage. Countdown to Green starts at 7:30. Race coverage itself starts at 8 p.m. Eastern on enascar.com/live or twitch.tv/iRacing, youtube.com/iRacing, and twitch.tv/NASCAR. You can also catch him on your weekly series shows for the Advanced Auto Part Weekly Series at Florence Motor Speedway. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, June 8th, the 22nd. You can also catch him all season long on his Facebook. Insert plug there.
Yeah, you can catch me on Facebook at Donovan Strauss. My Instagram's Donovan Strauss. My Twitter's Donovan Strauss. They're all the same. So
I still got it.
I look forward to seeing everybody the rest of this year and continue to chase after our first win.
Well, it's coming soon, man. The last thing before we let you go, man, who all you got to thank for all your help on all your racing endeavors?
Yeah, I got to thank everyone at AK Performance, all of our guys. I love every single one of them, and I've been building good relationships with them. Martin PC, Brian, appreciate him. The Tool Shack, Colton Wright, Regina Wright, Johnny's Pizza back home in Stockbridge, Georgia, Keith Sturgio, appreciate him, and obviously my friends, my family for sticking with me and having my back. And we're continuing to work on everything, and we're already working on next year. So I'm ready to keep going, keep tackling this.
Good deal, man. Well, man, it has been a pleasure having you on here, and I got a good feeling we're going to have you on here again probably real soon talking about a win coming up in the
we are
the late model stock.
Appreciate that.
All right, buddy. Well, appreciate you coming on, and we'll be talking with you soon.
You guys.
Have a good one.
You can go have fun at Charlotte. I wish I was going up there. I had a pretty good time at Darlington. You were there, right?
At Darlington?
Yeah.
I went Saturday night. I mean, not Saturday night. I went Friday night.
Friday night. You didn't go Sunday?
I did not go Sunday. I went with my wife and to her moms or her mom and dad's and spent with the in-laws.
So you were a good husband. I was a bad one because I spent mine at Darlington. I spent her first Mother's Day at the racetrack. Whole weekend.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking that, there's an opportunity to go do that. But I would tell you something cool happened out of Darlington.
What's that?
The fan experience, people. Crazy enough they had the iRacing thing, since we kind of had an iRacing guy on and a future star in the NASCAR Regional Series. Walking down there, and they got the booth up for the sim rigs, and they got 4 of them sitting there, and people take turns going in and driving a lap around Darlington. Well, it was me, Steve, Owen, Jacqueline, all of them was there, and Owen wanted to go drive them. So I went over there, and I walked up to the dude, and I was like, hey, man, I used to call the college series. Like, give me the microphone. I'll call a lap. And so I did. Grabbed the microphone, called a lap, turned around. The guy looked at me, and he goes, go for it. He goes, just let loose. Turned around in front of, there wasn't a lot of people there, but it was good amount, like about 100-ish. And I was like, if you are in the Darlington region, come to Florence, South Carolina, Timminsville, Diamond of the Southeast. Like, we had a winner. I interviewed Owen while I was up there, talked about the battle between him and Beck. It's pretty cool. was really cool to do it. And guy gave me his number, said, next time we're in Darlington, give me a shout. And so Labor Day weekend, August 30th, when the ZMAX Cars Tour comes to town.
That's right.
I don't think I've convinced the wife. I don't want to say I've convinced the wife, but I have nonchalantly, given subtle hints. Hey, Southern 500s that weekend,
Well, I'll probably
slash race for playoffs.
Southern 500 that weekend.
Yeah, like, you know what, honey? Like, I might be there. It might not be here, but you got Florence Friday night, Darlington Saturday, Sunday night. And it's like, honey, I might be there. Haven't decided.
Things
kind of. Darlington twice in a year. It just doesn't get old, right?
No, never does.
And it's under the lights, so that's even better. I won't get sunburned again this time.
Always better.
I got way too sunburned, and it irritated the mess out of me because I got sunburned and great seats. I mean, Steve and them were awesome. They gave me a ticket. I went over and sit. And, you sit in turn 1 and 2, and you sit all the way up. I'm talking about in the rafters.
Oh yeah,
and you can see the whole racetrack.
Oh yeah,
it was so cool. I'd never been that high up at a racetrack except for Bristol. See, that was awesome.
I don't know if it's a good thing or not. I never go in the stands anymore. I did go in stands for the truck race. I'm always end up in the pits over at typically the SRI hauler. And I just stand on it half the time, and it's not a good seat. It's not a good seat.
Didn't you sit over with Keelan and them?
Yeah, I sat right above them actually. Yeah, they were right.
Those are two very respectful young kids, him and Brexton.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because, like I said, I think some people noticed who Keelan was, but no, I mean it's cool that he's getting that real racing experience, and he's one of the guys. As young as he is, he's just one of the guys and hangs out at the track with the Joe Ryan bunch. But before we get any farther here, everybody, I do want to let's go ahead and throw this on the screen. Our good buddy Skylar Whitfield. Ladies and gentlemen, he will be playing all week live at the beach, at a beach somewhere, 22nd Buoys there in North Myrtle Beach. On the 24th, he's at the Knot Windy Hill there in North Myrtle Beach also. 25th, he will be at Lazy Turtle Bar and Grill in Oak Island, North Carolina. And on the 26th, 49th Street and Grill Bar and Patio in Oak Island, North Carolina. So y'all hit out and see our buddy, and Terry sometimes co-host also.
Hey, he's turned into a really good race announcer.
He has. I listen back to, I mean, sometimes I go, I'm not going to lie, I don't always watch back because I'm at the race.
I skip mostly.
And
if I go back and rewatch it.
Same thing, but I sat there and I watched a good bit of it from Florence last time.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Skylar's doing really good. So y'all go
he's very playful banter wise.
Yes.
It works, right? So normally you get the I don't know how to describe myself, but you get like the traditional lead guy that, kicks off the show and blah, 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 blah. And then normally you either get two things. You either get a color announcer that's just like, whatever. Like, I'm here because I'm here. Or you get somebody like Skylar who has the stage presence, who has the know-it-all of where we are in the show.
Right.
He knows the rundown of what I need, right? Like, he's following down going, Terry's here. I need to be here. Like, I need to follow what he's doing. And I'm proud of him. Not only is he a badass musician, but he's a badass announcer too. And he's coming along. I am so proud of him for taking that step and doing what he's doing, because not many people have the gall or the stones to do what he's doing. Like, he's doing it the right way.
He is. And I tell you somebody else who's doing it the right way. That is our buddy Butterbean, Brenden Queen. What's up, man?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Lovely,
wow,
man.
if it isn't the 2023 Thanksgiving Classic champion, Brenden Butterbean Queen, baby.
That sounds good. I waited a long time to win that race.
Yeah, you did. Hell, I couldn't get you for an interview after you won that one. I had the Waffle House people wanting to get in touch with you. Your crew was throwing stuff on you.
That was a wild race.
That's why I tweeted. I said, "This is how he learned this." You was able to dive it so deep into the corner at Wilkesboro because you and Barry was doing it to one another for 30 straight laps.
No lie. That is the truth right there.
Cool, man. Well, what's up with you today, man? What you been up to?
I slept in. I got home in the middle of the night because I stayed and watched the All-Star. And then I drove home, got home at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I hadn't done much today. I had a team, debrief meeting with the Tricon today, and zoomed into that so I could be a part of that and kind of go over the race, break it down. And other than that, I had a couple of interviews. Just got off Sirius XM NASCAR, so that was fun. And hop on here with y'all, and I might have one more after y'all. Not sure yet. It just depends on if I get out of time or not. I don't know. So
you are awesome. You are awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
He's so cool. I mean, he makes time for us still. He's on Sirius XM, but he's still got time for Chicken Bone Alley.
Chicken Bone Alley.
Gotta have Chicken Bone Alley.
Well, it's cool because you get this opportunity of a lifetime, right, to go drive the one truck. You definitely made your presence felt, and you had people who had no idea about the Cars Tour, had no idea that people like you existed. That you were, and Fox did a very good job of talking about your story. You did not know if you were ever going to race again. You had no idea until Lee and all of them kind of came together and you got the chance to go drive the Cars Tour. Then you're setting the world on fire. I mean, you went out and won every race in the sun last season, crowned it off with getting the Thanksgiving Classic win, and then you go into the Cars Tour this season, and everybody's looking at you and like, is he going to win the championship this year? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been a rough start this year. Just had a lot of bad luck, really, but we starting to turn it around, chipping away at it. We're not out of it by any means. Long way to go still, and got a really good track this week on the schedule for us, Tri-County. So we were really good there last year. Hopefully that'll carry over this weekend. We can get that first win out of the way and start knocking them down. But yeah, man, it's crazy how things work. Who would have ever thought a year or two ago we'd be here now? So it's really cool. This was a really special weekend for me, and I'm actually hadn't watched the whole Fox broadcast yet. I've watched like the first stage. So
they hyped the mess out of you, sir.
I'm watching watching that tonight. Once I get done with all this, I'm gonna finish up watching it. But man, I've gotten text about it. I can't keep up with my phone, so I've been trying to get back to everybody. But it was just a cool experience.
Man, it was so awesome watching, and it was so I texted you earlier in the week, man. Regardless, we're pulling for you. I'm not gonna lie, I was so bummed out about the Cars Tour race getting rained out. I was just like, man, because, and the reason being why I bring that up is because it was actually 2 years ago, I guess now. It was the first time I met Butterbean. Right there on pit road after his hood blew all up and all this stuff. And he gave me his phone number then, so he's probably regretted that ever since.
No.
So man, it's so cool to then watch you last year get the win at North Wilkesboro and then come back this year in a truck and right out the box, go sit P1 in first practice. Man, how did that feel?
Yeah, that was wild. I couldn't believe it. I knew the truck would be good, but we were about, I think, 4th on the board before we mocked up, and then everybody started doing mock runs, and we did our mock run, and they were like P1, and then they said that Corey had went out, but he didn't beat us, and I was like, dang, like that's a good truck. So I was like, and that's my teammate. So I was like, kind of judging off of who had done mock runs versus who hadn't. And when I knew that he had already done his, I said, "Dang, we're probably in the ballpark then." And yeah, that was. I got out the truck and got to watch the timer tick down to end practice, and we were still P1. And I was like, "Man, like." It's the little things like that it doesn't pay anything, and at the end of the day, practice doesn't really, matter where you end up, but the media side of it was big for me to be able to be top of the board in my first ever time driving a truck. So they can never take that away from me forever.
No.
I could say I was fastest in my first ever truck practice. So it was really cool.
Well, let's dive into that for a second. You talked about the media circus that was around you. When you got out of that truck, the fans were behind you. There was a ton of people that was just screaming and hollering, that was just excited to see you succeed. And a lot of North Wilkesboro fans came and watched the Cars Tour race that you won there at Wilkesboro. They also, pay attention to you on Flow. They watched all the races that you've won. How do you think the fan reaction to you might kind of help further an opportunity for you to stay in a Tricon truck moving forward?
I think it was big. I thought it was for Corey when I got out the truck. I didn't realize it was for me. And then when I turned around and they explained to me that it was for me, I was trying to just acknowledge them and hype the fans up even more. But it was just special like, I'm serious. Like, I thought it was for the race winner. It was that loud. So, and then as soon as the fans started going nuts, that's all the media started showing up. And it was like, oh my, like, you'd have thought we won the race, which to me, I felt like I won
pretty
the
much
race.
did. Yeah.
Top five. I mean, I told everybody, like, of course I wanted to win, but I was like, man, like, I complete all the laps, I'm going to feel good. I was like, and if I sneak out there with a top 10, I'm going to be super happy. And, in my opinion, I felt like we had a truck just as fast as Corey. If we just could have got there or didn't have the penalty, like, we were kind of wounded from the start. We had to start so deep, and then, then the penalty obviously didn't help. But you know what? I learned a lot. We passed 60 something trucks, and I don't know if that's a record or what, but it felt like it.
I don't know either, but we do have a quick question here from our chat, and it is our buddy Skylar Whitfield. He wanted to ask real fast. He said, "Hey, Butterbean, great speed in the truck, man. How do you like the racing, the new surface, compared to last year when you won the Cars Tour?"
Yeah, I don't know how the late model race would have went, but I can tell you the truck race surprised me. I did not expect it to widen out like it did, and it was a blast. I mean, you could run all the way up by the fence, or you could wrap the very bottom. And like, my truck was really good everywhere, but like, I felt like I was one of the only trucks late in the run that could wrap the bottom. Like, I made a lot of passes on the bottom that people couldn't make. So I think that's where our strong point was, of how we could pass so many trucks. But it was fun also getting to go up and kind of dust the cushion off too. That was really fun.
Well, I have a random question, and this might be the most random thing, because I interviewed you last year. I believe it was at the 400, it was the 400. I interviewed you last year in your hauler. And I said, you've added this. How would 2-time South Carolina 400 winner sound? Well, how does South Carolina 400 winner, Thanksgiving Classic winner, and now a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver sound on your resume? Like, that's pretty damn good.
That's crazy, And I told everybody, like, I tried to soak in the moment. You only get to make your debut once. Like, after this weekend, everyone's if I get another opportunity, it's going to be really cool, right? But it's not the first one. The first one is just really special. So to say we got a top 5 in our first one, and we're fastest in practice, the only thing that looks bad on the sheet is we started 26, but we had there wasn't nothing I could do about that one. So the rain took care of that. So I looked at it like it would have been cool to qualify, because I feel like we had a shot at the pole, and if I would have gotten the pole, like, that'd have been cool to say I got the truck pole, but probably learned more starting 26 than I would have if I got the pole.
It definitely made it exciting. And one question I have about that, You stayed around and watched the All-Star race. There was kind of some reaction. I thought it was a fairly good race per se, as far as the All-Star race, but there's been kind of a reaction. One guy led the whole race, couldn't pass, blah blah. But I was like, man, they apparently just need to put them in trucks because Butterbean was passing everybody out there. So, as compared to what you sat in the truck and saw and what you watched at the All-Star race there, what'd you think?
I thought the truck race was way better. I mean, I was kind of disappointed in the cup race a little bit. I stayed for the whole cup race. I almost left halfway through because I was like, I kind of see how this race is going to go. But I don't think it was the track's fault. Like, I think it's the car.
Yeah.
I think it's the car. Like, the truck's phenomenal race. I just don't think this cup car. I think the cup cars, I've never drove them, but I think maybe they got too much grip. Maybe they just, I don't know.
I think it's a shifting. I think somebody gets a run on somebody and they just downshift real quick and pull off from them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to. I love racing, and like if I'm Joey Logano, I put a butt whipping on him, right? And I'd be happy. Like I'd be happy as could be. But like, Larson made the most progress. Probably he finished third or fourth, right? And
fourth.
Just fourth. And when somebody like him can't even pass, that's telling you it ain't the drivers that can't pass out there.
That's right.
And I know there was a lot of there's a lot about the truck start, but I want to talk about the car sport for a second. A lot of momentum, and not going to say national coverage, but I'm going to say it's starting to get more coverage than what it did, say, 2, 3, even last year. You got Bob Pockers now tweeting about it. You got a lot of eyes on the Cars Tour. What does that mean to you as somebody that has kind of been there? Not since the inception of it, but in the highlight of it, making a name for yourself in that series, and how do you help grow that series into what most people would explain as what's going to be the next tier of NASCAR going into truck racing?
Yeah, it's been cool. I don't really know who the face of the Cars Tour is or anything like that. I like to think like I'm one of the guys, maybe, but that's for the fans to decide, and that's for the series to decide. I think
you're definitely up there. I'm pretty sure you won the most popular driver.
That's for Bean Nation to decide for sure.
Yeah. So it's really cool though, to see the amount of support we get at the Cars Tour races, and I've seen it grow from last year to this year, and then like I think just people seeing that I went and did the truck now is gonna. Now there might be people that didn't know me that are fans now that might be like, oh, I'm gonna follow him at Tri-County this week on social media, and now they're watching the Cars Tour because they saw me in a truck last week. So I think it's a win-win either way. You bring Cars Tour people with you as a person, and then you also can bring people that were NASCAR fans to follow you as a driver back to the tour.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, if they want to get out there and follow him. Butterbean's got a brand new diecast coming out. You can go over.
You got two? I got two diecasts.
Yeah, you got two diecasts. You got the truck one too. Your debut truck.
Yeah, the truck one just got announced today. How cool is that?
Is it going to say Butterbean on the back, or is NASCAR going to rip it and put Queen back there?
I don't know. I'm sure it's going to have Queen back there, but
too soon for Bean Nation out there. That it was a Butterbean was awesome on the back of that truck.
Yeah, that was funny. That was all Tricon. Tricon told me they were going to do that as a joke and see how long they could get away with it. We had the Queen in the trailer ready to go, but they didn't say nothing at all until we went P1. When we went P1, it was like, oh, that's got to come off.
They were probably like, who's rookie? Who's Butterbean? And you got number one, like, oh, well, if he's going to be on TV, like, take it off.
That's probably what happened. So they had changed it, and no, I'm glad we had some fun with it. But no, Lionel's so cool to work with, and looks like the late model should be good. We sold over more than I thought we were going to sell, and I have to buy some to meet our minimum, but it was under what I told him I would originally get. So I got to actually get that straight this week, and the late model diecast should be going into production, which that'll all get, they won't get them till the end of the year, but still cool. And the truck, it's got to go through the same process, so hopefully we'll hit our quota on that. But I'm hoping that might get more attention than the late model one did just because of yesterday. So it was really cool. I had no idea that it was going to come out today. Lionel had told me they were going to do the truck. I just didn't know when. So really cool to see it on Lionel today.
That's awesome, man.
I'll buy one if you promise to sign both of them.
Hey, I will. So it's kind of cool. I was shocked. So they're actually offering the autograph version online. They're offering the standard version, and then I guess the 164. So
no.
Cool.
I want to watch you sign it.
That's
I want to be there with you. Take the picture while you're signing it, and
perfect.
Probably at the 400 again. I mean, we might, if you're racing the classic, I might come down there and do what I did last season, and interview in Victory Lane and have you sign it again.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Awesome, man. Well, dude, we are so proud of you, and just proud to call you a friend, man. I was definitely pulling for you the whole time, and I was probably texting too much. But
if you would have got the win, how much Waffle House would you had?
What was that?
I said, if you would have got the win Saturday, how much Waffle House would have been consumed?
Man, I can tell you. I don't know. I told the guys we were going to get the truck driver to take the whole rig to the Waffle House, and I bet you we'd have had that place rocking with the jukebox. But nah, man, nobody. I felt bad. I couldn't text a lot of people back. There was no service at the track.
None at all.
Like it was awful. So I got an hour down the road last night, and if you didn't have an iPhone, all the text messages started coming in because I got on Wi-Fi and I could get iMessages, but I couldn't get text messages. So my phone just went through a cycle of like just the green text messages coming in. I was like, uh-oh.
My bad.
Yeah, it was miserable.
No. It wasn't you. So it took me a while to get back to everybody because I got home so late, and I still haven't caught up. There's still people that are like, dang, he's too good to text me back now. Probably that's what'll happen now.
Well, I can promise you, I never
tweeted
thought that.
you, and I was like, I didn't expect. I knew you wasn't going to get back. I was like, I'm going to tweet and say how much, it's pretty cool. And I was like, he's busy. Like he's doing his own deal.
I can't even. The problem with Twitter is or X now, I guess. I don't know if it's called Twitter anymore, but I can't even I have to type my name and go to latest to try to make sure I didn't miss somebody I need to like or tweet back to. I can't find it all. It's just buried.
First world problems. It's just terrible.
Yeah, that's a terrible issue to have.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. All right. What the last thing I got to ask, man, when we get another podcast from you?
Yeah, the Bean Pod, hopefully this week. We wanted to record one before I left for Wilkesboro, but I was gone a whole week and it just didn't work out. But plan to record this week, and hopefully we'll get it out before Tri-County.
That's awesome, man. I love watching it. Love you guys. Your guys' work is it's cool to just hear what's going on in your week to week. Especially since the Toyota deals come along and all that stuff. It's really cool, and I know a lot of people have told you, but that's definitely what the fans want to hear, man.
Yeah, that's right. I'm excited to kind of break down the truck race this week on the show and preview Tri-County and just kind of, I guess, try to give people an insight of how my weekend was from my perspective. So that'd be cool.
Well, man, I sure appreciate you coming on and giving us a little bit of time. I know you've done, gotten all big and stuff. He was on Door Bumper Clear last week. That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was an experience right there. It was cool how it all worked out, and Freddie reached out to me and got me on the show, and I knew TJ, didn't really know Freddie. I mean, I knew who he was, but hadn't ever met him, and I never met Brett. Brett didn't know who I was, but Brett became a Bean fan after the show, so that was cool.
Brett is from about 30 minutes down the road from me, so I know we got a lot of ties there, so it's really fun.
Nice.
He's
nice.
Good people. So that's cool, man. I am so glad and proud of you for doing, big things, buddy. But I don't want to hold you up, man. I know you got other things to go do and catch up on some sleep, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'll sleep good tonight. So
All right, brother.
Can I send him out the same way I did Donovan?
Do it.
You can catch Brenden Butterbean Queen Saturday night flow race in Tri-County, 8 Eastern Standard Time for the Cars Tour race.
Thank you.
That one. Good send out there. I'm good at this.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
See ya.
See ya. All right, everybody. Brenden,
He's awesome.
He is awesome. Butterbean. He's been super cool with me. I told him, and I told him this in person one time. I said it was so funny because before I'd met him, I got a suggested friend on Facebook, and I was like, oh, I've seen him race a couple times, not in person. I think there was a couple flow racing deals, seen some late model stock stuff and I was like, I'd already had the podcast and stuff. I was like, I'll shoot him a friend request, that way one day might want to get him on the show. You never know. Lo and behold, he accepted my friend request. It was funny. So
yeah, I followed, or he followed me on Twitter when I first got, I believe, on Podium, when I got to Podium Esports. And we followed each other on Twitter since 2021. And I it's funny because I didn't even know who he was. And when I got to the racetrack for the South Carolina 400 in 22, I walked up to him and I was like, I've been following you on Twitter for years. It's good to finally meet you. And he knew who I was. He knew me. And it was super cool. We got to chit-chatting, and I was just like, man, I appreciate that. And then he went and won the darn thing.
Yeah.
That was super cool. And then I walked up to him for the Thanksgiving Classic the Friday before the melee happened. And I got on pit lane, and I said, you going to cross this one off this year? And he just laughed. He goes, man, I hope so. I hope so. And I was like, sure enough, we're down there in Victory Lane Sunday night, and he's going crazy. The crew's going crazy. It was super cool to watch how much that race meant to him. It was like his 500. He'd been trying so hard to win the Classic, and he got it. And to see that kid go race the truck, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It's really cool that, kind of me and you both, I guess, kind of got into the real car media stuff at a similar time, and seeing these young guys come up and the paths they're taking and what they're reaching, it's been pretty cool. It's seeing guys like Butterbean and those guys, so many of them just reaching, Truck Series and who knows what he's going to do more of. I was listening to him on the radio, and just he knows so much about. He is like he'd been in truck forever, and I think he can. I foresee him. I don't have any knowledge of this. I foresee him getting back in that truck this year. I think he'll be back in it.
I hope so.
I think he'll be back in it more this year, and I really could see at least a heavy part-time deal next year, at least, if not a full-time. And I'd love to see that. Just like Carson Quaffle. We've talked to him multiple times at the track, and to see all the Xfinity races he added on this year. It's what I said. Florence Motor Speedway, and this I know Carson and Butterbean, that's not necessarily their home track by no means, but they've raced there enough and raced good there that we feel like we know them, and we do. And to see what they're moving up to is just absolutely awesome.
Well, and the thing that intrigues me the most about what you see in the short track level right now, right, is you have a series that's up here, right, with the Cars Tour. Like you have it. It's out there. It's on its national playing field. Then you have your national levels. You have your weekly series stuff that you have put out there, from no matter if it's South Boston all the way down here to us. And you don't know what talent you're going to get out of that. Like Butterbean started off, running the weekly stuff and being a champion at his track, and then going to run the big major events, which a lot of people do. They run the major high market, the Hampton Heat. They like to go run the 400. They run the Classic, like those big marquee races that are paying you well, but also have a name to them and have history to them.
Right.
And that shows and showcases a ton of talent. But now the car store's doing it every week. So
sure.
It gets a little bit more difficult.
For sure. Well, great to have him on here. Great to see him doing big things and everybody. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our good friends over at SRI Performance. They are your one-stop shop for all things racing, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what you need for your race car, if it's down to nuts and bolts or engines, full, complete engines, as far as that goes. Go check out our good friends over at SRI Performance. They got everything you need. Go get online, www.sriperformance.com. Load up that cart, put in that promo code CBONE10. The C is in
Chicken.
chicken. BONE10.
There's a bone in there too.
There he is. There he is. There he is. Get yourself 10% off at time of checkout. So y'all head on there. Same deal over at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum. Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, guys.
You got it now.
I got it out.
I don't know why the chicken thing made me laugh.
It's funny.
I had a long day at work.
But head over to Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, guys. They got all the materials you need for any project you got going on, and whether it be race car or anything else. If you own a big company, or and y'all need materials, if you need steels and aluminums, obviously in their name, but also plastics and every other, if aircraft grade materials, that they can hook you up. So y'all head over to Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and get set up with them today. Also, good friends over at Earl Ramey Racing Engines. I have to tell you real quick, I was going to go try out that brand new bullet in the gun over there.
It rained on you.
It rained.
I was prepared to watch.
It rained.
I was excited to tune in. I had an off weekend. It was weird. I was going to watch racing instead of calling it.
Wow. Boo-boo, What's up, buddy? Boo-boo Dalton's on here.
I'm a curse to him. I'm not allowed to be at the track if he's racing.
Uh-oh.
He finishes second every time I show up.
I just want to know if y'all can be in the tower together.
He's bigger than me. If Boo Boo wanted to throw me around, he could. He would be a fun announcer with me. I don't know if he's busy.
I know, and I've asked him about coming on here. When you coming on here, Boo Boo? That's what I want.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, guys, Earl Ramey Racing Engines. They I was gonna go try it out this past week over at Dillon Motor Speedway, but we got rained out, so it's gonna be next weekend at Dillon before I can get it on the track. So y'all come on.
You're test tuning it for me, though.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm just shaking it down.
I can find a sponsor if we're serious about this. I don't know what the chat feels about it. Like, I just want to practice the darn thing.
We'll
just let me see if I'm decent at it.
I'm telling you, if you can fit in it, we'll make it happen.
I think I mean, I don't have to be comfortable. You should see how I drive the car up to Florence. I sit like yes.
Oh, anyway, guys, if you are in need of a motor or some motor work done, head over to Earl Ramey Racing Engines. I don't care if it's anywhere from a crate motor on up to all your built motors, anything from like I said, super late models on down to your street stocks, anything you need in between. Head over there. And one of the best things to put on them, for sure, is a good old set of Profab headers. Profab headers and exhaust, guys, they are quality that wins. I have taken tours through that shop, and it is so cool. It's just, there's so much stuff goes on in there. We've been talking a lot about, we haven't talked about it, but there's been a lot of talk about IndyCar this week because of the Indianapolis 500 being held this Sunday. And Kyle Larson.
Is there a NASCAR guy in there?
There's a guy.
Larson.
I
Larson.
think that's his name. Yeah.
I hear he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. But guess what's on that car? There's profab headers.
Was that why he qualified in the Fast Six?
Why he qualified in the Fast Six? Because they are quality that wins. So head over to profab headers and exhaust, and they can hook you up for any application you need. All right, so I guess we need to talk about some of that stuff. We've talked about everything else.
There was a punch.
There was a punch. That's what I'm saying. That's what we got to get to. It's what we got to get to.
There was also some qualifying at a place with bricks.
What was that? You broke up.
There was qualifying at a place with bricks.
Oh, there was qualifying at a place with bricks. Yes.
Yeah, there
was qualifying at a place with bricks. So, all right, let's kind of recap the weekend there as far as the Cup Series. Unfortunately, there was the Open qualifying got rained out. Everything all week at North Wilkesboro got rained out if it was supposed to be held during the week. Come Saturday, they held qualifying for the All-Star qualifying, which also had the Pit Crew Challenge. Which I now think that is the way they need to qualify every week. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I always enjoy it when the crew gets a chance to showcase it. Like if that was the case, I agree with you. I don't think every week
it might dilute it a little bit.
That dilutes it. Like I do think that there should be an opportunity for. I mean, I think qualifying's qualifying.
I know. I'm just trying to put something exciting back in the Cup Series, I think. I don't know.
What would be back exciting?
Is good racing?
Well, I think there's no more feel for the 500.
No.
Like, I think there's no feel. We do nothing leading into it. There's not anything leading into the Daytona 500. They go LA Coliseum. What the hell has that got to do with Daytona?
Well, we're not going there this
exciting.
Year. We're not going back there in 25.
I don't care. Even if you go to Bowman Gray, what does that do for Daytona?
You better you better hush your mouth. Skylar Whitfield's going to get you.
I don't want to watch them at Bowman Gray. I'm sorry. I want to watch a truck race at Bowman Gray, but I don't want to watch a cup race at Bowman Gray. I want to watch the same thing, which is like the month of May for Indy. Leading into the Daytona 500, I want to see the Budweiser shootout again, or the Busch Light Clash, or whatever you want to call it. I want to see practice every single day in the test leading up to the Daytona 500. The Gatorade duels coming back in that 2 weeks of racing. Make the Daytona 500 feel special like the Indy 500 does for the entirety of the month of May. Make me want to watch everything Daytona, not just some knockoff Bowman Gray track in a Coliseum.
Tell us how you really feel, Terry.
It's dumb.
We all of a sudden went to Daytona now. Okay.
I'm just saying. I was sitting on my couch yesterday watching the qualifying for Indy, and my wife was like, "They're not racing till next week. Why are they qualifying now?"
It was so exciting.
And I was like, because this is the excitement of the 500. They practice all week long. They qualify, then they practice all week long again. Then they race.
I'm with you though. Oh, I miss speed weeks. I miss speed weeks from Daytona, and I was the same way. This is Indy's version of speed weeks, basically.
Yes, and it's awesome,
and it's great. It has not lost any luster at all because it's so much excitement every week or every year. To me, Daytona was the same thing, and I don't know.
You didn't know if they were going to wreck in practice. No. You didn't know if somebody was going to blow up. They had to start at the rear for the duels, where the clash was going, nothing.
You know what I think hurt it, though? I'm just going to throw this out there. I know it's not what we're necessarily talking about, but you know what I think hurt the Clash or Speed Weeks at Daytona. I think it was charters.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Because everybody's got to race every race now, or attempt to race it. It
gets kind of difficult.
It did, and it lost it when, at one point in time, it was only pole winners. A lot of times there was 15, 16 cars, and that was it. And it was fine. I didn't mind it. It was great.
And then you got heat races going into the Clash.
Yeah. And so now it's a little too much, I think.
How do we get back into that? Because there used to be, you had the peel draw, which was super cool, where you had the Budweiser pole selection show, which there was no qualifying. You had to draw your number. How do we get back to that?
I don't think they will. I think it's so funny. They crack me up because I don't think they will, because you hear Denny Hamlin constantly complain about how much money it costs to go down there. It's like, okay, so we'll do this to save you money. Okay, fine. So we'll take that money now and we'll spend it on more engineering in the car. And I'm just like,
well, it's stupid because they spend more building the racetrack at the LA Coliseum. Oh, yes. They spend more money putting all their people up in a hotel out in LA
and Chicago.
And Chicago, which you could have just spent the money to do this. And you could have went Daytona.
I personally, just throwing this out there, is completely off subject. I know we're getting into weeds a little bit, but I think a downtown Charlotte road course race would have been great.
I'm with it.
It been the same thing as Chicago, but it would have been somewhere that people actually wanted to see it. But I digress. So,
the weekend action was pretty cool.
It was.
The Cup race was not.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. We're jumping forward because we already kind of talked about truck race. With Butterbean on
truck
here.
Race was super cool.
Truck race was awesome. It was the best race of the weekend, in my opinion.
What would have made it better? And I'm not saying this because he was involved in one of the greatest late model stock car finishes of all time. But if Caden Honeycutt was in the field,
yes,
I would have loved to seen Caden racing the 17 and Brenden in the 1 and have them two kind of, doing it. I wish if Mother Nature would have been cool to see what Butterbean could have done in that qualifying session. Because I think if he would have started on the pole, I don't think you're passing him.
No. I think he would have held it up there long enough, and I think if he would have started in top 10, I think he would have been just fine.
He'd let some laps.
For sure. So anyway, Joey Logano sets it on pole for the All-Star race. Christopher Bell's crew actually got the Crew Chief Challenge, $100,000.
2 in a row.
2 in a row. Yes.
Yeah.
They're fast, super fast. But I want to ask you real quick, and I've asked a few people this. Do you think that these pit stops have gotten too fast?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I wasn't the only one who felt that way.
It just the single lug nut. I didn't like the single lug nut idea from the start. It's too F1-ish. Yeah. And then we're doing the option tire. I like the option tire idea, but don't change the color of the wheels. That's IndyCar F1 type, where you got the reds and the regular and then this and then that. How about you just make a damn tire that works for all of it?
Just use rain tire. Normally, it's been great. Every time they've ran it, even when it got dry, it was great for a little while.
Yeah, in my opinion, you just if you just say whatever, and I heard Larry McReynolds on Sirius XM talk about this one when the tire got brought up. It's not a tire problem.
No,
it's a car problem.
It's a car problem.
You had the Bristol race, which was an absolute fluke of a tire. Like, it was not on purpose that tire was made, right?
No.
But somebody called in and they were like, well, what they should have done was take that tire from Bristol, throw it on the car at Wilkesboro, and we'd have had a much better race.
Well, they did.
Well, you can't take a concrete tire and put it on an asphalt track. It don't work like that. Like that tire might have reacted totally different here, but stop with the gimmick. Like I get it, it's an exhibition, but I don't need a red tire and a yellow tire, and you have to put the red tires on. And now the red tire was supposed to do this, but the red tire didn't do this. And now the yellow tire was on, and people came down pit road to put the red tire back on because they put the yellow tire on and they made no progress. That's too much as a fan to keep up with.
Yeah.
Remember your demographic. Like, remember who you promote to. It ain't red versus yellow tire. This ain't Hulkamania running wild at North Wilkesboro.
Hey, my thing is, if you're going to do that, let Hoosier back in.
Yes.
Let's have a tire war.
If you're right, and I agree. If you're going to let Goodyear make two different tires and you want to give the teams options, okay. Hoosier versus Goodyear.
Yep.
Give them the chance. Give them the chance to put a tire out there. And if Hoosier, and say Hoosier goes on a winning streak, right? Say Hoosier comes out, puts a tire on a racetrack in places that tires matter. I'm not going to say they'll go out in the 500 if they win
That's
it.
right.
Okay, tires really didn't matter, right? But say they get to Kansas, Bristol, Darlington, Richmond, places like that, the tires matter. And Hoosier wins? Weird.
Yep, I agree with you. I think a typical Cars Tour type Hoosier at North Wilkesboro probably would have put on a great race, but then again, still not the tires issue.
Speaking of something, you just mentioned Cars Tour there. With NASCAR's involvement, little bit more in the Cars Tour. When does NASCAR say stop using Hoosiers?
I'm waiting for it.
When do you say that they, even with the NASCAR Regional Series, with your NASCAR weekly tracks, when does Hoosier get pushed out the door?
I know that it wouldn't trickle down this bad, but have you heard the price of a Cup tire now? $550 a tire.
So about $2,000 a set?
$2,200, yeah.
That's ridiculous. What's a set of Hoosiers cost for a late model?
I think it's about. I'm not exactly sure now, but I think it's about $800 for the whole set. I think I could be a little off on that. I hadn't bought the new tires yet.
So what if Hoosier was to jump into the Cup game? Do you think they go up on the price of tire?
Yes. Now I don't know if they go up on the short track, the typical short track tire, but they're going to definitely be charging the same. I mean, Goodyear has a monopoly on NASCAR.
Yeah.
I mean, and in all honesty, Hoosier has almost a monopoly, not quite, but they have almost a monopoly on short track scene. Like Legend Cars, they have a complete monopoly on it. And I've had already this year, I've been able to buy more tires with the Legend car than I ever have. But I've already had 2 tires get about a race and a half on them and have a tire go bad, as we say. Just have zero grip in it. And so I'm not going to put it on any of them. I mean, I know it happens, but on our lower level, that's not say. I put it this way. Like I said, we've been able to buy more tires this year than we ever have. Is that a good thing? Because we're spending a lot more money on tires with a Legend car than we ever have.
Yeah, I see it from the standpoint, and granted, I don't get into the back to politics of it, and a lot of other people do, and I try to stay away from whatever it is. It's not my job. It's not my place. It's not my position. Right. I'm just the guy that's trying to make a name for himself, make a chance to go up the ladder in the announcer side.
He's the smoothest voice in motorsports.
But if you're looking for competition, right? What's Goodyear's contract with NASCAR? Like, do we know how much they pay NASCAR to be the official tire of NASCAR?
And then they sponsored a race at Darlington.
Yeah. But then also, hear me out. if we can have the TV contract that we have for 2025, where Fox has until the All-Star race, Amazon starts the 600, they go for, 5 weeks? They go 5 races, then go to TNT for 5 races. Then they go to NBC to finish out the season. We can have that. Why can't we have a tire contract? Because your weekly series has NASCAR's name on it. They run a Hoosier tire.
Well, my thing is look at the ARCA series. ARCA runs what do they run now? Is it General Tire? I think is what they're running.
Yeah, the General Tire.
And that is,
but it's the General Tire Menard series. Like it's presented by General Tire,
right? And that's what I'm saying. And that's a NASCAR series technically.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, if you want to get technical, NASCAR's got the best of all worlds. You have Hoosier down at your local, your local late model racetrack, and you've got General Tire in this series, and then Goodyear is your top 3 series. They're the ones that sell you at the end of the day.
Dude,
so
I put it out to somebody not long ago, and I ain't gonna call the track owner out our name, but I just put it out because I saw a race shop. I think it was a race shop or some kind of shop. It was a Truck Series stuff, which is 15-inch tires. They're a very similar tire to what we run on the short track. Now, obviously, compound's different, but I'm like, dude, if we would run, truck takeoffs, this would be great. We'd never have a shortage of tires.
Right. I don't know, and I don't know if that what the answer could be. I like Curtis and he's a good buddy of mine, and speaking of iRacing announcers, to be one of them, also pretty good racer. He talked about NASCAR should hire Junior and a few other retired drivers to go to the track, find the best tire Goodyear can produce for racing. I agree with that, but the problem is well, what car are they going to drive?
Well, the problem is there's actually a conflict of interest in Goodyear. Hoosier, not so much. The conflict of interest in Goodyear is, they want to produce a good racing tire, but that's not their bread and butter. Their bread and butter is street tires.
Are my tires out there on my car?
And they don't want you to think those tires are ever going to blow.
Nope.
And in all honesty, a good tire, as long as you keep air in it, this, they don't they don't blow. They last a long time.
And that's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, because that was a topic with Larry McReynolds.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they don't care. Not going on record saying that. I think they do care about the product that's on the racetrack. But if they have a car, they have a tire like Indy. Remember Indy back in 2011 or 12?
Yes.
That was absolutely trash. I promise you that 90% of the people watching that race is like, well, I'm going to get this tire. I'm going to go put this crappy Walmart tire on my car because these Goodyears keep blowing out. And if they're doing it for the racetrack, they're going to do it for me. And Goodyear's the only thing now that is a win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
That's it.
Because if Goodyear knocks it out of the park, their tire sales increase. They run the NASCAR promos on their windows. That's I know, because I pass a Goodyear every day going to work. They're the only company that's selling. Ford, Chevy, Toyota. You're not watching a Chevy win. And I promise you, Ford sales did not decline, because in the first 13 weeks, they only won one.
Nope.
Because they ain't a NASCAR. A NASCAR car ain't your street car no more.
No, not at all. So, yeah, but that's my thing is I think, and even if they come up, I don't know. I get it, because they want to use that brand to sell tires. They want to make it a household name, Goodyear. But it would be better for racing, I think. Say let's just use Hoosier's example. Hoosier does not produce a street tire. Nope. They produce tires that look like street tires, and we use them for racing purposes, but they are a race purpose only tire. And we understand as racers, you go below the minimum recommended air pressure, you might blow the tire. You wear it out too much, you might blow the tire. But you just brought up something about Indy a minute ago about the tire debacle at Indy. How long of a track is Indy?
2.5.
2.5, right? Okay, they were throwing a caution flag that year every 10 laps, so nobody would blow tires.
Yep.
What is really funny, and it was the worst thing ever. Oh, it was horrible. It was terrible. It was horrible. Okay, if they were going 10 laps, 2.5 miles, 25 miles. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Bristol, first of this year, they were making it 15 miles on a set of tires, and everybody loved it.
Yep. NASCAR fans, and I'll say this no matter where I go in the sport, what I've got in life, don't care.
No.
NASCAR fans don't know what they want. Race fans in general do not know what they want. They want one thing one year and they want another thing the next. They don't care that, well, we asked Goodyear to build a tire that wore. All right. They did. Goodyear can only control so much, and a lot of people whine and complain about it. I don't think back in 2000 and whatever at Indy that they expected it to be that hot. I don't think they expected the track not to take rubber. They put a tire on the racetrack that they tested at Indy that worked at Indy at the time of the test. It didn't work at the time of the race because the temperature variance changed, and I'm not an engineer. So if you clip it, I'm not an engineer, but I'm telling you common sense. Track temp changed, weather changed, teams were running below the recommended PSI. Wasn't Goodyear's fault. Those three variables changed.
That, camber, toe.
Same thing that happened at Bristol.
Exactly.
You could probably put that on a little bit on Goodyear. What did they say? A little bit too much kind of fell into the pot.
Oh, yeah. Well,
too much went down.
Well, even Denny Hamlin said, you take that race, give it to us the next day. Exact same race, exact same temperature, exact same tire. He said, but allow us to adjust for it. He said, and we're going to at least double, if not triple, the mileage out of that tire.
Correct. Well, then on top of that, like to the point, Curtis said flat out, I want hard racing with tires and cars that can pass consistently. Okay. Find it. Oh, wait, we had it. The Gen 6 car.
Yep.
We had it. And then what did we want? We wanted something else.
Well,
NASCAR gave you what you wanted.
And my problem was, what happened is we wanted something that raced good at all tracks, we thought, because the 1.5 miles were horrible with it. And, well, now we got a car that's good at 1.5 miles. But that's it.
but once again...
And actually, see, this is the issue. A lot of people, they're like, this car is terrible. No, the car is not terrible. The car is actually way better than it needs to be.
Yep.
That is the issue. The car is too good. The car handles too good.
But what changes that? That's the problem. What changes it? Okay, so say they make the change. Say they give them 1,000 horsepower. They take some drag out of that thing. Okay, what do you do when they get to the road course and the road course racing sucks because they got 1,000 horsepower on them?
No.
What do we do then?
I know NASCAR didn't like it. I don't know the teams liked it, but I don't think they really cared, honestly. But back in the late 90s, early 2000s, especially, and even up into Gen 6 era, but just not as much. They had track specific cars with even track specific packages, complete packages. And to me, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's probably the best way to. If you're not going to get a car that is amazing at a 2.5 mile track, that is also amazing at a 1/2 mile track. I don't think you're going to do it.
Well, then think of what happened with Chastain. The car he won at Coda in went and won Talladega.
Yeah.
In the same year. And I don't think they changed much.
No.
I think they probably changed the spring. I would imagine they changed the spring on the. That's it. That's probably it. Everything else was the same. But I go back to the point I said before. Racers and race car fans are their worst enemy. Take you back to Florence. Everybody at Florence Motor Speedway 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, walking up and down pit lane, yelling and hollering at Steve and Jacqueline. We want a caution. We're running caution free, and this is BS. This is what we want, and we're going to get it. Steve says, okay, you want it. I'll give it to you. Well, caution comes out.
Didn't need it.
Caution comes out. We didn't need it. But everybody's still mad at Steve. It's like, oh, yeah, we're mad at Steve. Like, Steve did this. He told us we were going to have a caution at lap 40. And it's like, wait a minute. The caution didn't come out. And Steve, as calm as he could be, goes, dude, the caution wasn't from us. Somebody wrecked. Like, somebody wrecked on the track.
But I will say, and I know you were in the booth. I was down on pit road. I know you can hear it, but I'm going to tell you what. That's the loudest I've heard those stands in a while. I mean, and I know you got that.
I could feel it.
You got the one loud one that wants their opinion heard and everything. But for the most part, I hated all the carnage that happened for sure because I know what it takes.
The fans sure were excited.
They were excited, and I know you talk about you don't want to see Bowman Gray type racing. Well, unfortunately, we live in a drama-filled world.
I don't mean it. I like Bowman Gray.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Love the action that's there.
Action, yes, you are action. I don't necessarily like the racing that goes on there, but it is a spectacle on a weekly basis over there.
Yes, it is. What I don't want is the Cup Series to go there.
I agree.
I think it would be in it. Don't take this out of context. Don't record this and get me in whatever. Terry said he doesn't like whatever. No. I love Bowman Gray. But until we get the short track package fixed for the NASCAR Cup Series, for the love of all things are holy in racing, do not put them at Bowman Gray. Do not make Bowman Gray not look like it should. Because it would put on a great race with your Truck Series. It would put on a great race with your Xfinity Series. Don't put your Cup Series there.
I agree.
Don't.
100%.
Yet.
We got way off track. But anyway, so if you can't tell, we didn't think the race itself at the All-Star at North Wilkesboro
wasn't good.
Was great. But what I will say about it, and I tweeted this out or X'd it out or whatever you want to call it anymore. What do you do on X? Do you still tweet?
Post.
You post. I post on Facebook. I want to do something else on X. What I will say, and I posted this, was this repave at North Wilkesboro is probably the best repave in NASCAR history.
What kind of asphalt they use this time?
I heard, I'm trying to remember who talked about it. Might have been Dale Jr. There was something they used. They said it was basically they made the top more porous than normal. The aggregate they used in it, they used like some kind of sand that was bigger, but when they swept it, basically the sand come out. I don't know. I'm no asphalt guy, but somehow they made it a little more porous than normal, and basically it made it catch rubber in it and build rubber all the way across the track, just like you saw.
So is this like the Three Little Bears with the porous?
I guess so.
It's like, this corner has too much. This corner has a little. The back straightaway.
Just right.
Has just right.
But what I really loved about it is there was still a bump coming out of 4. There was still character to the track. It wouldn't just stay completely
Did you
smooth.
see Josh Berry's car in the open?
Yes.
Popped up, kicked up the track. Yeah, that was wild. Wilkesboro in general is I don't know how to describe it.
No.
I mean, I'm just going to be real with you. I went there last year, and obviously nobody had been there. It seemed like in forever, and I can put it on the thing. I can say that I was one of the five announcers that was on the property calling the race. Was the last announcer, one of the last announcers to call a race on the old configuration of Wilkesboro.
Nice.
And something that nobody can ever take away from one of the guests that was on here, Josh Lauder. He was the final winner at that configuration. So that was pretty cool, pretty neat. But just walking in that place,
yeah, so much.
You talk about the fans like at Florence, like standing up top and how loud they were. I got goosebumps during driver intros. And I'm serious. I never do I get in the moment. I guess I would say when I'm downstairs, when I'm doing pre-race or if I'm doing whatever, I kind of got in the moment because I stopped and I just looked around and I was like, oh, I got nervous.
I will say 2 years ago when the Cars Tour went back, first race, I was there, and I was walking out actually on the track, got passes, and I was doing my typical little grid walk interviews and stuff like that. And man, just looking up in them stands and looking around at that track, it was just it reminded me. It was wild, but it reminded me so much of just being at a regular old Saturday night short track somewhere. But this place was packed. It was filled. Yeah. I had never seen so many people for a late model race, and
they're just excited to see it back.
That's all it was. I mean, it helped Dale Jr. might have been in the field, but
yeah, well,
but regardless,
it doesn't matter. Even for the Wheel and Modified Tour that was out there,
yes,
even the Modifieds had a crowd. I mean, they were not expected to open up turn one grandstands. They opened them. That's right. They were selling the mess out of them. That town deserves everything after what happened.
That's
and
right.
It destroyed that town. And NASCAR being back has now made that town, better and more flourishable. But I mean, they lost everything when NASCAR left.
You're right. So anyway, racing not that great. Asphalt good. One thing that did happen over the weekend was I thought they were going to be racing arcs or something because there come up a flood.
Yeah, a little boat racing.
Yeah, I mean, 4 inches in less than 2 hours. That's a lot of rain.
There was somebody, they were jumping off of jumping off the pit wall in the water.
Yeah, they had like a belly flop contest down there. Tires were floating by. But it
was all because something covered up the drain hole.
That's all. That's
it.
But what was so funny is, and I was listening to Stacking Pennies earlier, Ryan Flores said, yeah, but what was really bad for that guy is just around the corner from that pit box, a porta potty had also floated and fell over, and he's just belly flopping into it.
Poo.
Ew.
Into poopy. Ew. It's what's the Joe Dirt? I got the poo on me. It was. That had to be the wildest scene at a racetrack. Tires floating, whole
porta potties
covered in water. You got the SHR cars getting toted on to whatever into the hauler by the Hendrick guys.
Yeah.
And then you got everybody on Twitter speculating, is SHR going down in the tubes? Is Hendrick buying them? And then I was like, what if Junior Motorsports
buys that same thing, but I don't think he's wanting to put out that kind of money.
He's going to do it. I think Junior buys that.
Well, he's speculating on his podcast that Front Row is buying it or merging.
I think that's a decoy.
I think it is too because it really didn't make sense because Michael McDowell's leaving.
Yep.
But I hear Noah Gregson might be staying with it, and I was just like, but that's too many charters.
I think Junior is going to be the master of this one. I think he's throwing fans off. I think he's buying it. I think he's moving up into the Cup Series. He's buying it.
I hope he does. I hope he does, personally.
I think he's at least going to buy 2 charters from SHR, and then somebody else will buy the other 2.
Yeah.
And they'll get out.
But I hear Stuart Haas SHR might be just dropping back to Xfinity. Might be keeping 2 cars in Xfinity, which is just weird to me. I don't know
where do you put Cole Custer? Do you leave him in Xfinity?
I heard. Well, the word is he might be going to that Front Row ride.
That'd be a good one. I still think Junior's coming in the Cup. I don't. Everybody told me on Twitter when I said it first that they was like, "You're stupid." Yeah, has to, and I agree. You got Noah Gregson and you got Josh Berry.
Yep.
That
it would make sense.
It would make sense to buy those 2 charters and leave Josh Berry and whoever in there.
Well, I said the same thing. I said this not long ago. And I can't remember who I was talking to. I said it's weird the way Josh Berry and Noah Gregson were kind of pushed to SHR like that. Mm-hmm. I wasn't thinking anything of it at the time because there was no talk of sale or anything like that. But I thought it was kind of weird how both of them ended up like that.
They one season. The only thing that kind of sucks. What does KHI do? Because you got KHI in a late model side that's running. Well, his son's running Trackhouse.
Well, Kevin on his own. Well, no, he was on Dale Jr. Download. Junior kind of asked him about that whole deal. Do you still have a partner for a brand alliance or whatever? He's like, no. He said, I didn't keep any of it. He said, that way our late model stuff, he said, we can change the nose from week to week if we have to for whatever brand alliance that driver has coming up. So he don't care. Obviously, Keelan might. But he's in a legend car right now, and he'll be moving, obviously, to some street stock and late model stuff here soon.
So since we're there, right? If Junior, because I would imagine, I would hope that Junior Motorsports and KHI would work together, and do that.
I'm just saying, Kevin Harvick really seemed all in the 5 car this past week. Trackhouse that
I'm glad you saw the same thing.
Trackhouse that is behind Keelan is also a Chevrolet deal that has a lot of dealings with Hendrick Motorsports as well. So,
and Junior Motorsports has a whole lot of Hendrick Motorsports alliances.
Yes.
I
mean, they had this man a suit made for practice.
And hats
and everything. And I'm like, I know he just had a generic suit laying around somewhere. He could have got a cheap Simpson suit just laying around somewhere. Nah, we went all in. Name, everything on the suit. Champion, everything for practice.
Junior and Harvick go in together and buy a race team.
I don't know. I don't know if Harvick's back into that. I don't know. I think he had his feel, but I could see it happening. KHI is really their their driver development stuff that they're doing, or not necessarily development, but their marketing side, is going really well. They got a lot of drivers back in it. Landon Lewis is one, Josh Berry. I can't remember who else. There's quite a few more. So I don't know. I could see something happening, but I don't know if he wants to go back that route.
That could be fun. And then, you'd have the pairing of Rodney Childers back on a Chevy team and Steel Crew Chief and Josh Berry. Ford's kind of been underperforming. They're getting their feet like they did the past 2 seasons.
I've kind of said since Kevin Harvick left, I know he's broadcasting and got to be, non-biased or whatever, but he really kind of dropped all the Ford stuff. And I will tell you this. If you didn't notice it out at Florence Motor Speedway, he was driving a Cadillac Escalade.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Bucky told him. Bucky told him it was stolen. They kind of played a prank on him, I heard. But yeah, he was driving an Escalade out there.
I had a good conversation with Keelan.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Hornaday. And then had a good conversation with Brexton and Kyle. But I missed Kevin completely. But it's good to have him. Good to have him at the track.
For sure. For sure.
Glad we were able to kind of keep him,
well, cool.
Not behind closed doors, but behind closed doors.
For sure. Well, man, we have run really long tonight, but I want to thank our good friends also over at Fresh Chef. If you were up in the Race City area, Charlotte, Mooresville, Concord, all those great areas, please head over to see our friends over at Fresh Chef. Our daily food and drink specials, some of the best food you will ever eat, I promise you. Tell them we sent you over there. Also, RevMax Racing apparel, guys. If you are in the market, need a suit. I had our buddy Matt Grantham messaged me earlier, asked me where I got my suit from. Sent him all the info to go over to RevMax Racing apparel because they good stuff, solid work. My suit, I've been wearing it over a year now. It's been great. Love it. Wouldn't have another one. So y'all head over to RevMax Racing Apparel and tell them we sent you over there for sure. Also, MPM Marketing, marketwithmpm.com. McAllister's Precision Marketing. Tanya over there, she knows her stuff for sure. She knows the faces that your face needs to be in front of. So if you are trying to move up in this racing world, head over to marketwithmpm.com and get started today. All right. So, racing over at Florence Motor Speedway this weekend?
Yeah, good plug. Carolina Pro Late Crate Modified Series at Franklin County Friday night. You can watch them. They'll be on Flow this week with the Smart Tour. So watch them in the Moonshine capital of the world. And then Florence Motor Speedway Memorial Day Showcase is this Saturday afternoon. Green flag drops at 7. Gates open at 5. Green flag at 7. And that'll be fun.
It will be. I'm not going to make it this week. Sorry.
You can watch it on Flow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, I'll try my hardest. I may have to catch a replay because it is my beautiful wife's birthday on Saturday. So
better way to spend the rain. We'll be live after you're done.
I'll let you talk that over with her now. So
if she's watching racing,
we'll be going to do something for her one day.
I'll serenade her. She watches it.
There we go. That'll be
good. Just another year, right?
I don't want to cut in on Skylar, but when can I sing the national anthem at Florence Motor Speedway?
I don't. Well, I mean, this would have been a chance this weekend. So
I know.
He's not there.
Dang.
I think Shelby Milliken's going to do it again.
She probably is. She's
pretty good at it. I like Shelby. She's good. She's a good kid.
For sure. But anyway. All right.
I might mess around and sing it this week. I ain't singing it.
You know. All right. Well, y'all go head out. Check out your local racetrack for sure. Go sit in the stands. You won't find a better seat. I promise. As great as it is on all the streaming platforms, I love all of them. Still not as good as being there in person. Can promise you. Because you don't see like the pre-race interviews like, Terry does. Comes down and talks to me and Alex Meigs before the race and try to really figure out what's going on. I will say
I didn't learn much.
Well, one thing that was really cool, and here comes Jackson. He wants to. Are you gonna sing? Jackson wants to sing. He's dancing. Tell everybody, hey. Wave at him. Hey. All right, go with mommy. Go with mommy.
You love racing. You love racing. I'm talking behind the wheel with your tail on fire.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of buttons.
Definitely a lot. But like I was saying, no better place than at the track because you miss stuff like driver intros at Florence Motor Speedway. They were on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Partially on Flow.
Partially on Flow. What'd you think about the driver intros that went on?
The best is yet to come.
I tried to throw in a little bit. We needed more smoke.
I like the Ric Flair strut. Nobody else saw it, but I saw it.
Nobody else saw it, I think. We needed more smoke. It would have been good. You know.
Well, we're
I got a smoke machine sitting right over here, actually.
Credit to the brainchilds in our group chat.
Oh, yes.
So I'm not going to tell the details, but I will tell you that it's fun to do. It's fun to be a child, and I appreciate Steve and Jacqueline and the entire Zacharias family for letting me be a child. But I promise you, the best is still there. There's a lot of ideas that is being tossed around for the August 30th show. And then there's some big race at like the end of the year. That's like a huge South Carolina thing. I'm not sure. But you might want to have your butt in a seat.
I'm just saying I'm ready for Steve to get good enough at driving this drone.
Oh, Sammy didn't die. Sammy is still alive. Nope. We bought a new one. Oh, no. He bought a whole new one. Sammy is 1 for 1.
Good job.
R.I.P. to the drone before, but Sammy, he made it. He made it. He made it through the prelude.
I'm glad we're naming them now.
Well,
but I'm just saying.
We have to have some sentimental to them.
It'd be an awesome shot to open up the broadcast, coming backwards through the tunnel, through the smoke, up in there, shooting driver intros.
Well, the drone only charges for so long.
I know. I'm not saying it has to, stay there. Just that'll be a great shot.
I think since the Cars Tour race will have a pit road camera, so you normally get that person, like we get the shot from all the way up here.
Yes.
Like the pit road camera, I believe moving forward, we're going to use a camera that's going to be like right here in your face. Like it'll just be like right there.
Oh, that would be great.
And we'll be able to catch right through the smoke. And kind of takes, I don't like being in the shot. I don't like being on camera much. Like it doesn't do much for me. All right. So I like being away on the sides, and the fact that driver intros, you're the driver. We want to see the driver. Like I don't want to see the panoramic view. But Steve, Layla, Jacqueline, and the entire family over there.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of brain power.
I love it.
Joe in there as well.
Yeah.
Joe's smart, and all the cool pictures and stuff you see on the broadcast and the ones to watch. And he gave me a sheet with ad reads on it. I thought that was super cool.
Nice.
I thought that was fun, that I knew what part of the race I needed to do it. I just looked down and was like, it's time for me to hit, Advanced Auto Parts, which, by the way, if you didn't know, you can go to your local Advanced Auto Parts and get all the parts and pieces you need. Don't wait for it to break. Get to Advanced Auto Parts today.
There you go.
I memorized them, by the way. Just to clarify for everybody, I memorized them. Yeah, well, I have to, right? Aaron's has been serving the Timmins for over 50 years. And it only makes sense if you need any appliances, even lawnmowers. You can head down to Aaron's today.
That's right.
Here for you, man. Try. Let's go. Yes.
All right, man. Well, awesome. This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun. So I guess until next time.
Yeah. Let's do this again.
We will very soon. I'm gonna take next week off. Next week, Memorial Day. So I'm gonna take next
Big
Monday
day.
off.
Big holiday.
Who knows what I'll do? Oh,
I'm gonna sleep.
If it don't rain, I might go test a race car. Who knows?
I think the wife and me are. I got 3 days off.
Nice.
Back to back. Hang out with the wife on Sunday, Monday. I think we're going to go to the zoo.
You know, that's actually what we're going to do for my wife's birthday. We're going to we're planning on going to North Carolina Zoo.
Well, I owe the wife Mother's Day.
Nah.
Yeah. So I think the zoo with Georgia be pretty cool.
It will. Should love that.
She likes puppies.
Cool. Good deal, man. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on again, buddy, as always. It's been great.
Yes, sir.
The smoothest voice in motorsports.
Prettiest hair in motorsports, too.
He's got the mane going on there.
That's right. All right, man.
All right, buddy.
Going.
Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us for sure. And we will catch y'all next time.